So in this video, I'm about to be breaking down the real no fluff explanation of the law of attraction and how it works in your life, and how essentially if you're somebody that does not like your current external environment and you have negative beliefs built around your current external environment and yourself within it, why it's very important for you to start learning how to detach from your external environment, detach from pulling beliefs and thoughts from out of your external environment into how is designing your internal makeup. You have to detach from that and start to come back to your own inner space and cultivate this. Start to build new beliefs about yourself and the world around you, and then come back and to project that into your outside environment. This also includes your past, being able to detach from your past and bringing beliefs and thoughts about yourself from your past actions. You got to detach from those as well and start from a whole new clean slate. You have the opportunity to have a clean slate. You declare it. A clean slate starting from right now on what you're going to believe about yourself and the thoughts that you're going to have about the world around you, no matter how your past look and not about how your external environment looks right now. You got to let that detach from it, let it all go, man. So a lot about what I'm about to say right now is kind of me contradicting even myself. However, the main thing I want to do is bring clarity to the field of quantum physics, right? Which is kind of hard to do, right? This is why a lot of people kind of be not against quantum physics, but it's kind of the world of the unknown. And some people don't harp on anything that is not within the realm of physics. What we discussing here, which is about the law of attraction, right, is actually something that was backed by science by Brian Lipton. You can go and look him up. All right. He's a scientist, discovered how the cells operate, how they change based on their environment, and was able to make those connections to quantum physics, right? And how we interpret the world. Basically, our behaviors, our thoughts, our beliefs pretty much change our cells, right? So the quantum can change the physics. You can get rid of cancer cells by changing the environment, essentially, right? Changing the environment in which those cells operate. You can also change your energetic field based on the thoughts and beliefs, right? So as within, so without. That's if you just needed some extra clarity on why this particular belief is true. So what Brian Lipton breaks down though is how, so most of our life honestly is controlled. When we're talking about quantum physics, this is from the internal outside, right? It's not so much about looking at the external, which is what we get so mixed up with when we dealing with quantum physics. And the only way you can control your external, honestly, essentially, is by the actions that you do, right? Is by you actually moving things around through your hands, through some type of physical motion, right? That's the only way you're gonna be able to actually move things around in your physical. And this is where we get things kind of messed up, well, when it comes to quantum physics, right? So with law of attraction, essentially, we like to believe that if we vibrating on a certain frequency within a field of gratefulness or love in these higher frequencies, we attract more of that to us. So we attract who we are. To be honest with you, it's not that I'm fully debunking that idea, but at the same time I am, because I'm realizing that law of attraction does not mean that. And I was just making my whole stick on that concept of idea. So me even saying this right now, let you know I'm serious about just bringing clarity to the field of quantum physics, over than me just being right over, others just being right. So what I'm realizing though is law of attraction is more about your view on the world. It has nothing to do with your external environment. It simply has something to do with how you're interpreting and perceiving your external environment, right? And this is pretty much by the work that Brian Lipton does as well, and what he explains. Essentially, your thoughts and your beliefs about your external environment change the way your cells operate, which means basically two people, the whole concept of this is that two people can be living the exact same life and having the exact same circumstances and going through the exact same day to day. Imagine two twins, right? They're not actually twins, but they just happen to be living the same exact life. However, one twin is angry and one twin is happy. Why is that? That is basically the law of attraction, essentially saying that the reason why they feel they live the exact same life, but one might be happy and one might be sad, is because they have two completely different interpretations on their external stimuli. That's all law of attraction is. So it don't mean just because the one that is happy can now attract everything that is good to them, and the one that's sad going to attract more sad things. No, it just means that they are more focused on, their lens is more calibrated to note it, to look at life in a certain way, right? Don't mean that their life is necessarily going to change. It just means that the cellular makeup is in two different states of being, right? Because if one is sad and angry all the time in fear, then they are generating those kind of chemicals through their brain is emitting those chemicals throughout their body. So they're going to essentially just be more unhealthy. However, the person that is more happy, right? I'm going to put up this finger instead of the other one. So the one that is more happy is going to be releasing chemicals from their brain, right? Those happy serotonin chemicals into their body, and that is going to change their cellular makeup. So the whole thing about quantum physics is it is internal. It is strictly internal. However, the person that is happy gonna be able to go about like their external life in a different way than a person that is sad. The person that is happy is gonna be able to see more opportunities and be thinking more thoughts that will generate better actions and outcomes from than a person that is sad and basically stuck in illusions. So that's really what it comes down. It doesn't mean that you just gonna start be getting all of these things, right? that equate to the frequency that you vibrate. No, it just simply means that the thoughts and beliefs that you hold change your actions. That's all law of attraction is. It all comes down to your actions though, right? It's not attracting what you are. It's essentially just seeing things differently. And by the way you see things, you start to take different actions because of that. It's by the way you're interpreting your reality that allows you to start taking different actions and moving in a different way. That's all law of attraction is interpretation. Law of attraction is interpretation. Your reality interpreted, right? Your interpretation and your perception on external and internal stimuli is what creates your reality. So most of the life we live, honestly, if we coming back to the quantum physics, right, the energetic body, it's internal. It's completely internal. Our external, we don't have we have control over it, but it doesn't matter too much about what's going on in your external environment. It's all about how you can adjust your internal compass to interpret it in a different way. That matters a lot more than your external environment changing. Obviously, we all still want things. We all still want more. But if you're able to already be interpreting your life that you currently have in a more happy and calm way, then you're more likely to be thinking more harmonious thoughts that allow you to manifest a better external environment based on the actions that come from those more positive, harmonious thoughts, that more seeing life from half full instead of half empty, right? You thinking of hope instead of hopelessness. Hope is what? Seeing the opportunities that is around you. That is better for you to start upgrading from there, right? Rather than seeing it from the other lens, because if you see it from that lens, you're gonna keep seeing it from that lens, no matter if you living in a shack, or living in your car homeless, or even if you in a mansion, you still gonna find some way to be sad or angry, because your internal compass, right, that is the habitual way that your cellular makeup and your behavior likes to react to your external environment, is to look at what's wrong about it, what you rather have rather than what you do have. Or don't get me wrong, you can be somebody to where, or like most people, where it's like, hey, I just need my external environment to start looking in a certain way, and then I will be more happy. But the problem is like, how are you going to get there unless you operating from a more harmonious thought forms, right? That generate better behaviors and better actions for you to get to that place. Because if you trying to get more by operating from out of a mindset of lack, sadness, and anger, it will be much more harder for you to do the actions and the necessary steps, right? Because that's going to just drain your energy. When you in those lower states of vibration, it just drains your energy. But if you can put yourself, I know it's difficult, right? Because you just really want your external environment to look a certain way, because you know you're going to be happier once you're there. But you have to start feeling that way now, so you can start generating the right actions, the right thoughts that's going to help you to get there. And then you're going to be even more happy. Now, for me personally, I found that the best way is to detach from your external environment, detach from what appears in your external environment. Like, your external should not dictate your internal. And when you detach from the external, it allows you to come back to your internal and start to build your life from the inside, and then start to actually project that outwards rather than letting the external project on what you feel on the inside. As long as you keep letting your external project on what you feel on the inside, it will never change. So you got to detach from this, come back to here, start working on this, right? Start working on your expanding your consciousness, expanding your awareness, right? Coming back to self. And then once you're able to heal what's up in here, right, and make this look the way that you want it to look, then you can actually start to project that forward outwards and get everything that you want. Just bringing our attention back to the twins, right, that's living the exact same life, but is interpreting their life in two different ways. So one is happy and one is sad, right? On the outside, things appear the same. They both going through the same things. On the inside, things are vastly different. So on the surface, and by on the surface, I mean the physical, right? What appears on the surface, what people can see, this manifests as one happy and calm, and the other one is sad and angry. Same circumstances, different internal mechanisms. So because one is happy, right, this is going to allow his brain to release chemicals that makes his behaviors operate in a different way. For him to think thoughts, more happy thoughts, right? Less constricting thoughts, right? Less hopelessness, right? The one that is happy has a lot of hope. The one that is sad and angry doesn't have a lot of hope. The person that has a lot of hope is able to see opportunities for him to gain, for her to gain, and make different actions that can get them out of whatever situation they're in. If they even desire to get out of whatever situation, they might not even need to, because they look at their life as fine. But if they want more, they have more capabilities, they have more energy, they have more free space to go after that, right? Because they're not so constricted, they're not so sad and angry. The person that's sad and angry, right, that's feeling hopelessness, is less likely to be thinking opportunistic thoughts, right? They just gonna be thinking about, they're gonna be stuck in apathy, right? Stuck in a box, a mental prison that they cannot escape, essentially, thinking that they cannot change. They won't be thinking in a way that's gonna actually produce actions that change their outcome. Even if they do manage to get a win somewhere, get an opportunity to change something, this mode of being kind of becomes habitual. So even once they level up, if they do manage to find opportunity to level up, that same emotional being, right, those same behaviors gonna creep back around to the level that they're at. So now they're still stuck in sad and angriness, hoping for the next opportunity. So technically, quantum physics does not change the physics. However, it can influence your actions by the interpretations that you have to external stimuli. And I think the easiest way to put this is dealing with, let's say, the dating market, right? One guy that thinks about approaching a woman can have anxiety, right, based on approaching that woman and trying to get her number, because they hold the thoughts and belief that they are unattractive, or that that woman will not want them, right? And because they believe that, their brain gonna create a situation. So basically what he explained is the reason for the mind is to create coherence between your beliefs and the reality that you live in. So if that person that's approaching that woman mind is believing that she will not like him, then he will essentially create behaviors. His mind will make him create behaviors that will justify his beliefs. So he will act in a way that will make him unattractive to that woman, versus the other guy that doesn't have as much anxiety towards women and has the belief that women like him, right? That women will love to actually be with him. He's going to approach the situation from a different behavioral outcome, essentially. He's going to approach it with a different frequency, right? If you want to use frequency, but basically the behaviors is going to be different of how they go about it, because the way they see it, what they believe. And that's what will give them the outcome that aligns with their beliefs. That's basically how all of this quantum physics and the law of attraction and manifestation, is really not what most people think it is. It's not so much magic to it. It's essentially just how you perceive reality. because most of our reality does start internally. You're only going to be able to really change your external based on the internal beliefs that you're operating on. So if you walk around with the belief that everything is bad in your life and you can't change it, then you won't be able to. However, if you walk around like the other twin that is happy and sees opportunities, right, sees their life in a different way, no matter what's going on, then you're more likely to be able to change it for the positive, for the better, right? The thing is, you don't necessarily need to change your external for the better at that point because you're already operating from a good internal compass. But your external will eventually change because of the actions that you put it in, because you already see life in a way that is more prosperous for you, more opportunistic for you, right? So this is that's basically the whole basis of law of attraction. It's not so much attracting alike. It's not so much of this magical stuff with it. It's essentially just your internal compass, your internal dials, right? Switching your internal dials around. That's all law of attraction is.